everyone. I'm back again with the episode 13 of Expand Your Life. Before I invite the guest, I would really like to talk about what is Expand Your Life. Well, Expand Your Life is a platform designed and curated by me, Gargi Sarkar, and I had curated this during lockdown. And you know why I have curated this? I had curated this because that point of time I wanted to talk to people, and people from different walks of life who share their challenges, their problems, and what they go through during those times of lockdown, as well as all the businesses that I have been inviting people from. I have a unique business, starting from a DIY artist to a yacht owner. My last show was with a yacht owner, and how interesting ways of inviting people in his yacht. This time what has happened is a lot of parents had come to me and saying that, you know what, your show seems to be amazing, but what I miss in the show is I want to also have another aspects of life, which is maybe parenting. And why don't you invite someone from the space of parenting? So then I thought, why not invite someone who's interesting, who actually talks about parenting. And we all have a lot of things about parenting we don't know, because the way my mom or my dad used to treat me is not the way I would like to treat my children today, because we have all learned things in a certain way. And then I thought, why not have someone who would actually talk about parenting and who actually gives us a different perspective of parenting. By the way, I'm going to invite him in 2 minutes. And before that, I would just like to talk about him a little bit. His name is Sushant Kalra, and he's the founder of Parvarish Institute of Parenting. He is a parenting coach, have trained over 2,000 parents across the world. And by the way, he's a TED Talk speaker. And he had been, I have attended his shows, and it gives a lot of direction. That when I have been in his shows, I have learned a lot of things, how to deal with my child. I have got a 5.5-year-old child, and I know how to deal with it. So I think it would be really great if I have him on my show. There are a lot of followers on my page who would love to know about parenting. And the most important aspect is, we are all working parents. And what happens is, as working parents, when we come back home and your child throws a tantrum, what happens is we give in to it, because we think that that's the best way to deal with the child. But that's not the best way to deal with the child, and I'm sure he will be able to help us how to deal with the child at point of time when the child is demanding or throwing tantrums and crying, how to deal with the child. So I'm going to invite Sushant Kalra on my show right away, guys. Hang on, I'm going to invite him right now. I can see a lot of people joining. Thank you so much for joining in my show back again. And this is my episode 12. And, there had been a little gap in between I had in my show, because I was not getting the right kind of people who I would like to invite on my show. Because my show it's a little unique, because when whoever comes on my show is someone who actually has a different way of dealing with life, and how to deal with challenges is what they have been sharing with us on our show. So I have more than 3,500 followers in this page, and I'm really excited and happy that these are all organic, and people have been liking our content. That's the reason there are a lot of new people joining on my show every day. So I'm just waiting for Sushant to join, and I'm going to follow the same routine the way we do. We have few questions, and after the questions, we have a rapid fire round, and we'll have a great time on the rapid fire round, and we end the show with a rapid fire. For him to join. So how have you been, guys? Last week, I had more than around 150 people on my show. And this week also seems to look nice. I'm seeing a lot of people joining. I see Akanksha, I see beautiful 480261 have joined. And there are a lot of people who are joining, and Akanksha and all have been regular on my shows. And thank you so much, guys, for joining. Insomnic also joins very often. I've seen them. So there are a few people, I see them joining my show every week, and that's really commendable. And I'm happy that I've been able to get good content for my followers, and they are enjoying the shows right now with me. So I think he's still facing a problem. I'll invite Sushant. Good join. Thank you,
Hi,
Sushant,
hi.
so much. I thank you so much. Finally, you could join, and I can now see you. So you know what, Sushant? Before I start, and I've already started the show. I've been already sharing with all my followers that how parenting have changed. You know the way my parents used to deal with me, and you know how parents deal today's parents deal with their children is very different. And if we keep the same thought process, then it will be very difficult. So I was just sharing that, and I said the best person to get in my show about talking about parenting cannot be other than you. So thank you, Sushant, so much
Thank you.
for being in the show, and I am actually honored to have you in my show, by the way. And
Thank you.
yes, so
But
it's
guys, as
all
you said, the relationship goes far beyond. We were
yes,
friends before we joined. So
absolutely. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's what also I was sharing with the followers that, I have attended your Parvarish shows, and how it had helped me to deal with my daughter,
mhm.
and what kind of challenges I face with her with a five and a half year old child. So I know now I know a little bit how to deal with it. Not everything is not dealt properly, but yes, I still know how to deal with it a little better than what the way I have dealt with it beforehand. So Shushant,
Right.
I what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a few questions, which would be related to your field, and then there'll be a rapid fire round. Okay. Now, in the
Sure.
rapid, yes, the rapid fire round is a lot of fun, by the way. Okay, and then we end the show with what people want to take back. What do you want to share with them, and what do you think that the followers should take back for themselves? Yeah. So that's the show all
Perfect.
about. Great. So I'm going to start off with asking you a few questions. Okay.
Sure.
Uh, Sushant, you want to talk about a little bit about about Parvarish, how you started Parvarish, and give a little background on that a bit.
Yeah, very strange story. I always say that life is full of paradoxes.
Mm-hmm.
Life is a paradox. The
Yeah.
only certainty about life is death, right? So it's the only like life is a paradox, and so is Parvarish. So when me and Monica got married, 1995, that's my wife. We were clear that we are not going to have kids. We will never become parents. That is how the Parvarish journey started, and from there to a 24 by 7, 365 days a year parent. From parenting, parents supporting them during the day, and then the second half of the day is with my own children. So it's like that. The journey has been amazing. I hated people who forced me to have a kid. So we had Aman after 6 years of marriage, and he said, "Yeah, nahi karna tha, nahi karna tha," and people forced us into it. And in India, as you say, it's almost impossible not to have a kid if you're married. It's like I keep saying that even the dog on the road would say, "Kya problem?" So I tell you, so the genesis of it came from there. And the first thing I said to myself, and even before Aman was born, even when Monica was pregnant, I said, "Yeah, I don't know parenting." And I think that opened up the doors for everything else. So when I said I don't know parenting, the second thought was, and I don't want to go the regular way. The reason we never wanted to be a parent was because every parent we saw, our friends, cousins, parents, relatives, we saw them struggling. We said, "Yeah, khata nahi hai, sota nahi hai, pita nahi hai, ye nahi sunta hai." And kids are saying that parents are on us all the time. If you're sleeping, they'll say, "Don't sleep." If you're studying, don't study. If you're playing, then stop playing. All the time you're on our number. Yeah? What's the point? I said, "There's no point there." So I said, "I don't want to be a man."
Right.
So in the last
Okay.
20 years, we've got like a developed child development model, which the the base of that is that you, me, I, every person, every human being, every child in this world is born with unlimited power. They're born no limit. And that I really thank Dr. Wayne Dyer to coin that word, and I picked it up from him. And how you and I, as parents and teachers, can actually make sure that the unlimited power we are all born with, how can that be nurtured?
Mm-hmm.
So, in short, that's where it is. And in the last 20 years of my research, but as Parvarish, 10 years of it, we work with parents in the Bhil community, in the tribals of the Bhil community, to American, Japanese, Chinese, Australian parents. And this model
Nice.
has proven itself. So what we say is that whatever you're dealing with, whatever you want for your child, it's possible. And we designed it into a very intense program. It's a 2.5 month program where we not just train but support parents in implementation of it. And the line we say is that if it doesn't happen, we refund you the fee. So it's a guaranteed product, no questions asked. Taking parents to a level where every day of your parenting, every day of relationship with your children is like full of joy and fulfillment. Not feeling exasperated at the end of the day, whatever the age of your child is.
So tell me one thing, Sushant, I have this question. I mean, my question is that you have like the training modules that you create. So you have psychologists or you have trained psychiatrists. I don't know what kind of people do you have to create those modules for I mean, to impart that knowledge to the parents.
So when I started off, I was alone. You know that. So in 2012 onwards, I started hiring people, and these were people from the child development, counseling, psychology backgrounds. Few of them first fresh out of college. So I shared the vision, I shared the base with them. And then Mahajan, Mani Gupta were the first two people who were with us. And we actually, when we started, it was a 4-hour program, that's it. And then putting it on the value, and it's now a program. So the churn, the amount of unlearning people had to do, because even the counseling and child development models of the years do not work today. So people came in with studying and researching about Piaget and Vygotsky's of the world. But my experience of the last 20 years has been contemporary. So what used to work 100 years back doesn't work today. Really doesn't work. Children, we have as human beings evolved. If you remember our times when our parents used to say, "Ja padh le," we used to go and study. Abhi ye time ho gaya, ye kar le. But right now, if you ask any child, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, wo kahega, pehle, why should I do it? Kyun karu? And we suddenly get hassled, like, it's a 3-year-old, why is he asking these stupid questions, simple questions? I don't have the answer. So that is evolution of human beings. We all want to know the why behind it. Why is it going to impact me? How is it going to impact me? I want to know that first before doing anything else. And the kind of exposure our children are getting today, the kind of information they have, we never had it. Like when we were 18-20, you compare our 18-20 with a 5-year-old today, I think our 5-year-old today has far more information, far more abreast with what is happening around the world. We had no idea.
Yeah, because
so those qualities cannot work today.
I can vouch for that, because my daughter asks me questions so many times that I don't have answers. I have to tell her that I'll come back to you with the answer, because I don't have the answer. So I
think
it's yeah, I mean, I do that very often. You know, I tell her, listen, I mean, I don't have the answer. Give me some time. I'll come back to you with it. So what I'm trying to say today, the children in a different level, and I believe there's so much to learn and unlearn. And what I believe is, when I come back home from work and she's asking and demanding and saying, I want this, and there are sometimes I really give in to it. Arey, whole day I was not there. You know, I would like to give in, but then I realize I'm actually not doing good to her. So I don't need to give in to this, what she's asking for all the time. So that's my question to you. So in that kind of a situation, how do you deal with the child who's a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old?
Yeah, so that is one thing which has happened over a period of time, because both of late in the last 15-20 years, both mother and father are out there working, and children don't have much time. So what comes into the head is, let's compensate the time with giving into them, giving them something, making them happy. So first thing I would want to tell you as a mother and people who are listening to this, it's not your job to make them happy. We say, "Inko khush rakhna." Nahin, that's not your job. Your job is to make them responsible for their life. I can put a definition of parenting anytime. One liner. So what I was saying was that your job as a parent, if I put it in a single line, is you making them responsible for their life. But because I guess as a mother, that guilt that I'm not able to spend that time, she's alone, that comes up so fast and that takes over, and we start compensating it with giving into them. Yeah. When you start giving to them,
Absolutely.
okay, giving into
Absolutely.
them, you're actually
Yes.
uh, letting them know that I can be manipulated, and they get that space of okay, if I want to get something, if I press my mom at this point of time in this strategy, it will happen. It's not a strategy, but this is how it works for us. So what you're actually training them that there is a way to manipulate me, and you've taught them, which as a small child you can still do away with because the demands are very small. But as they grow, it becomes very very difficult. And once you start saying no,
Yes.
so I'll give you a very small like a action hack right now for you. So you know what? At that point of time, when she's throwing a tantrum and she wants something which may not be justified, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
You know, when you ask something,
Most of the time that happens.
two things you can do. Okay, the first thing is the big need of any human being when they don't get what they want is one, they want to be acknowledged. That okay, fine, it's okay to ask for it. It's okay to hear a no for it, and it's okay to feel bad if you don't get it. And a big hug at that point of time saying, okay, fine, I love you, I care for you, and this is not, you're not going to get this because this is not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And stick on to that. It's going to be difficult. My request is rather than replacing with giving in, replace it with complete love, affection, hugs, and understanding that I know it's hurting because I'm not giving it.
Right.
So try it out. It really works. And this is if you really ask me, when you are in that kind of a mood, this is what you want from the other guy more than anything else.
I know what you're saying. It really helped. It'll help me a lot how to deal with her because there are times that I mean, I'm sure all the parents who are there on our followers also in the show, they also deal with the same challenges. I think it's a universal challenge nowadays that most of the parents are working parents, and when they come back home, they would like to give in to their demands, and or somewhere back of their head they start feeling guilty about not being able to spend time. That's being honest. So what happens is, that guilt, that is actually a pathetic emotion to have, but nonetheless that actually starts operating in somebody's mind and say, listen, there is this guilt, something like a challenge that is happening, I need to just give in to the child, so whatever the child is asking for. So I completely
So
get this.
let me do something for you right now. Okay, let me
Yeah.
take away that guilt from your head.
Sure,
So
sure.
this whole notion that good parenting or making sure that you're there for your child is a factor of time is a myth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've been hearing it from everybody, adults, schools, teachers, principals. They're telling parents to spend time. And that's what gets into parents' head that I need to spend a lot of time with my children.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
time is a very, 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 very rare commodity, right? It's a very rare commodity.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, relationship. The quality of time has no relationship with the kind of parenting you can do.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't match because if you really see, a lot of parents and specifically women have given up their jobs to take care of their children. They're spending 8 to 10 hours every day, but aren't they facing the same issues? Maybe more.
Absolutely.
It leaves them with the thing that I gave up everything for this kid, but I still could not make it. So it's not about time at all. Even if you have that 7, 5, 10, 15 minutes in a day, that's it. It's enough. The point is, in those 15, 20 minutes, are you connecting? Are you connecting emotionally? Are you connecting with them and that understanding each other? You coming back home tired, and are you able to tell them that I'm tired and this is what happened during the day, asking them, connecting with them emotionally and providing them that emotional support is exactly what the whole game is all about. This is what is missing. It's not the time. Put this in, the world will order.
Nice. Thank you, Sushant. I'm sure. I know one of the followers saying that wish my parent would have heard this podcast.
Not a problem. You can still show it to them.
Exactly. So I was just, so a lot of followers are there. So one of them said that, wish my parents would have heard the podcast. And I'm sure, see, that's exactly what today's children the millennials and the Gen X children have a different way of dealing with life. The way we used to deal with life is very different the way they deal with life. So we cannot have that universal rule of what we used to do, what our parents used to do to us, and do the same thing to them. It'll
Doesn't work.
backfire back to us.
It's like you're trying to put a Maruti 800 tire, a wheel, into a new car. The new generation cars, they don't work. They'll wobble.
Will not.
It's impossible.
Not correct. That day I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues. He said that our parents used to beat us up for being disciplined. So I said that's not the way to deal with your children nowadays. It's things are very different with them. So today's children, you cannot beat them up, and tell them this is how you discipline yourself. So fear psychosis never works. So that is something which
It never worked with us.
It never worked with us, correct? I know we used to always go
like
at the other. Yeah, we never liked somebody's telling us this is how you need to be, sit this way, sit that way, do it this way. We never liked it ourselves, so we can't do the same with our children.
Yeah.
So
I
think
tell you, it's not just about pick up on these what you just saying. Okay, two things. One, we used to say that okay, fine, our parents to deal with us in a particular way, use force to do this. So what I want everybody to understand is that when they were using that force, and looking back, we can say they were right. Nothing wrong with that. But at that point of time, we didn't like it. We felt bad about it. We felt that I know I made a mistake. Can there be a better way versus scolding me or beating me up? Can we talk? And we couldn't get that. And that is one of the reasons that people do not want to use force now. Why parents don't use force? Because at some point of time when they were being forced by their parents, they didn't like it. And we don't want to give our child the same experience. Nothing, I'm not blaming parents. It's not about that. It's basically that's the thing they had at that point of time and they used it and it worked.
Absolutely.
So we don't want to scold. We want to have a great relationship. So the whole idea behind it is, can we communicate? That's one. And second thing, again, a myth, again, Gagi, when we have a lot of stuff on discipline, he said, discipline your child, discipline your child. There is nothing called discipline. It's only self-discipline. Discipline, as we understand, is actually fear.
Yes.
When dad is there, don't do that. When teachers in the classroom is there, don't create a ruckus. The minute the teacher goes out of the class, it's a chaos. We've trained children on don't jump the red light if a cop is there. That's not discipline. That's called fear. Look at a red light today. Look at a signal today. When there's no cop around, the red light is not working. There is chaos. We are not disciplined. If we say that we have learned discipline, they hardly. Actually, we have not learned discipline. What we've learned is fear. So let's shift that. Fear is a different story. Discipline is a story. And discipline can only come when I say I want discipline.
I would love to know this. Because I have still not been able to figure out the difference between a fear and a discipline. That's what you are sharing right now to me, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah. What is the difference?
So fear is simple. When I follow something for the fear of authority. Heart in heart, do I want to do it? The answer is no. So as I said, take the example of a signal in the country. We do not follow that route because I want to follow that route. I want to follow that route because if I don't, then I'll be caught or I'll be fined. Right? If there is a cop, I would follow it. If there's not, you will see somebody just squeezing in, right? Discipline is when I start disciplining myself. And if you look at our own life, there are times when you are doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
So for example, this thing starting at 4 o'clock, there was no force there, right? You said, I will begin this talk at 4 and begin sharp at 4.
Correct.
There was no force there. There was no fear there. You wanted to do it.
Yeah.
We need to really get present and really distinguish it for people. Fear will not bring in discipline. Fear will bring in following of rules till the time there is somebody out there, an authority. When the authority goes, this goes. Discipline will no matter what. Discipline is what you say to yourself and do it.
Right.
So we need to make sure to differentiate that and start talking to our children and training them on what is discipline, what is self-discipline. Do they get up in the morning for school themselves because they want to go to school, or is it the parents forcing them to get up? More often than not, it's the parents forcing them to get up. That's not discipline in it. Can we hand over the reins to them and say, okay, fine, it's your school, it's your time, you need to go because you need to go, because you need to learn, because it's your life and we need to have that. And once a child gets that, it may take longer, but it stays forever. So, for example, whatever we say in Parvarish, whatever we do in Parvarish, one of the crux, the biggest strength we have is we don't say what we haven't done ourselves. There is no jnana in the programs. There's nothing to be said. Yeah, ye kar lo, ye acha hota, ye nahi acha hota. No. It's all done. It's your style. You worked it on yourself. So my son is almost 21. My daughter is 15. I haven't, from the time they were in class 1, got them to get up in the morning. I said, this is your school, your game. You need to get up. You don't want to get up, stay at home. Not a problem. It sounds simple. It's kind of difficult. But what the journey has been beautiful. We never had to force them to go to school. Ever.
Okay. I mean, that's quite a thing. I mean, how does one do that? I mean, I completely get what you said. You know, when a lot of things, I believe that when I follow it, a smallest of example I've seen with my daughter is brushing my teeth. Okay, simple example. Okay, now I brush my teeth in the morning and I brush my teeth in the night. She exactly follows that, and she brushes her teeth in the morning. I don't have to tell her, and she brushes her teeth in the night because she's seen me brushing teeth.
Absolutely.
So I completely get what you said. I don't have to tell her, listen, brush your teeth. She just comes along with me. She takes the brush and she brushes her teeth. So I think you're right. If I am disciplined, and if I want to do something and I show it, taken as an example, and then she will do it. Just seeing me, I think children are the replica of the way your parents are a lot of times. So they really
that's not the whole story, but a very big part of the story.
Okay.
You are an example. Is one of your biggest tool, biggest strength, by the way.
Okay.
Biggest strength. So I'll take an example. So I never used to read. So there are tons of books right behind me, right? I never used to read till I almost got married. Monica, my wife, was a ferocious reader.
Okay.
I don't know why. From her, when she was reading, I used to pick up a book. I used to start doing it myself. Both my kids are ferocious readers.
Okay.
So when we go out for even for our holidays, the first thing which gets packed is either books or Kindle. And there is a fight happening between the four of us. Okay, ye mere ko de de, maine pad liya, tune pad liya. We just had a road trip all the way to Run of Kutch last month.
Okay. Okay.
That it's road trip, and we heard, I think, 15 to 20 audio books during the trip. So while we are driving, we would play the book and we listen to it. And it's not that we're forcing them. It's like they wanted us. Aaj ye karte hain, aaj ye karte hain. So and people say children don't read.
I mean, that's really great. That's exactly, I mean, children does say, I mean, parents say that children don't read. Nowadays, they're always on the phone, or, they're doing something that they're reading. Reading as a habit has really gone away, but I make sure that, so that's exactly another reason I'm saying, like, I mean, the way I look at it, I make sure that I sit with my daughter and I read every night. Okay, so make sure
But
that
reading to her or reading yourself?
Reading? What are you saying? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Reading to her or reading yourself?
Reading to her. Okay.
I'm sorry, won't work.
Okay.
Reading yourself.
Ah, okay.
Because they need to see you enjoying the reading. Because what
Right.
happens, a lot of parents start reading to their children, and when they don't respond, it's exasperating. They shout, "इसे पढ़ा रही हूँ मैं, सुनती क्यों नहीं है?" Doesn't work. It's painful. You read and enjoy your reading and talk about your books. Discuss those books. Even whatever you're reading, you may think that, okay, she's just 3 or 5 year old, she may not understand what I'm reading. I can bet my life on it. She'll understand and she'll have an opinion of it. Discuss with them.
That I'm sure that's something I don't have to really think about. I really
And
agree
you,
with
in your books, you reading for yourself, not for her.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying that is a different perspective. Yeah, because I never saw it that way. I used to read is because I thought like this is how I'm going to imbibe reading into her mindset. So
So good we
yes.
spoke. That's how the biggest failures happen. People think, so a lot of times people say to me, okay, don't fight in front of them. Parents shouldn't fight in front of children. I said, what you're trying to create for them, something which is not possible. Husband and wife, I haven't seen a couple who doesn't fight yet.
Yes. Of
What are
course,
you trying to tell them? If you want to fight, they said, we fight under closed doors. I said, this is what you hide, okay? You need, if you're fighting, fight in front of them and then make up in front of them. Tell them that our love is bigger than our fights. We will fight, that's fine. We'll have altercations, that's fine. But we will come back and we love each other, which is bigger than our fights. They need to see the reality and they need to see.
Amazing. Yeah. I get
Hiding
it.
from them and saying, ये उनके सामने मत करो, it's like, वो भी फिर मैं, when my parents come to me and say, ये चीजें उनके सामने नहीं करनी चाहिए, मैंने कहा यही चीज वो भी नहीं करेंगे आपके सामने. वैसे करेंगे लेकिन आपके सामने नहीं करेंगे. Then how do you do it? You want them to be transparent? Open up your life.
Sure. Agreed. Like you're saying that treat them like adults. Is that what you're saying?
So let me change that line. Okay. So we have that system. अभी बच्चे हैं, बड़े हो जाएंगे, adult हैं. They're a different life. It's a human being. Treat them as a different human being. Why? Because they are a different human being. They have their own hands, legs, feelings, thoughts, brains, heart. They have it all. It's not yours. Your body is yours, your brain is yours, your thought is yours. They have their thought, their brain, their body. They are equal human beings. The only difference is you've come to this world 30 years ahead of time. That's it. Ahead of them. That's it. That doesn't give you a right to treat them as a child or an adult. Can we treat them as individual human beings?
Wow, amazing. I think it's a great experience of what you're sharing. A lot of things are unfolding for me also. Okay, so I have one question. This is a damn good. I mean, this question always. I have this question all the time, which I saw one of your TED talks. You talk about failure is wow, and will you throw a little light on that? I mean,
Yeah.
this is amazing. I mean, what is that you did on failure as well? So just a little bit on that.
If you really ask me, the only reason Parvarish has survived the last 10 years is because of this failure as well. Had this not been with me or with Parvarish, we would have closed shop long back. Long back. And I'll tell you the genesis of it. Okay? I'll get to the genesis of it and you'll get it perfectly fine. When you would have done it, and every parent does it, when you're training your children or training them how to crawl, you know what they do? They're lying on their stomach. You put something which they like a toy or something, just making some noise, like a bit farther away from them, right? And they crawl, they do all that stuff, they pull themselves up, somehow reach that thing in next 5-7 minutes. And they experience wow. And then you take it away and keep it in front again. They smile at you and they do it again.
Right.
You do that for half an hour. Just imagine, as an adult, if somebody was doing that to you, you reach a goal and somebody just takes it away again and keeps it again a farther away, and then you take all your energies, reach it again. You will kill that guy. But the child looks up at you, smiles at you, look at the, and I learn from this child. He doesn't give up at all. For him, it's fun. For him, it's an experience. So when I get rejected, when I fail,
We grow up, we give up. So we don't.
sorry?
We don't. I said when we grow up, we give up. We don't. We are not the same when we were little children. So.
Absolutely.
So what is that? What actually happens to us in that space? You know, when we are little children, we.
Yeah. So I would say that the responsibility is there of the environment, the children, so the parents, the relatives, the teachers, the school at large. When we are kids, I've seen a kid start to walk without falling. Not possible. Not possible. Everybody falls. Everybody gets hurt. Have you seen anybody learn struggling through it? It took us 3, 4, 5 years before we actually started to get that skill. Right. From the time we first held our pencil like this to actually writing it out. Nobody has learned cycling without falling.
Right.
It's impossible. Nobody's learned driving without making mistakes. You have done. But what happens is, in the early days, as a parent, when a child falls, we don't say, "Oh, you fell." We say, "Wow, great, man, get up, do it again." Imagine a child who's just fallen, he's hurt. Some children fall on their face. It's hurt. It's very, 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 very. It's hurting, right? But the parents are actually happy about it. They're saying, "Okay, get up, man. Nothing happened. Walk again. You'll do it." So they see that, okay, fine, it's okay to fall. And my parents are happy that I fell and I will get up again and do it again. And in that process, I learned how to walk. But after a few years, we make falling wrong. Oh, don't fall. Don't do this, lest you would fall. Right? Shift it around. Say, go fall. It's okay to fall. Exposure is the only way you learn. And there is no way. You cannot learn without failing. It's not possible. So whenever you're falling, the idea is to say, wow, I did something which I didn't know. Wow. So when I used to go to these schools 10 years back, I used to sit at the receptions and I'm talking to the principal and saying, can you give me 2 minutes to talk? I know I'll talk to you. And they say, who the hell are you? Get out. Like I spent hours sitting on a reception of schools and coming back dejected because the principal said, okay, wait. And after 6 hours, left the school and didn't even say, come next day. I said, okay, fine. I did something which is outside of my circle. I don't know how to do it. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. And all those principles, to be very frank, are good friends now. Few of them trust the what do you call it? They're on the board of Parvarish. The same people who didn't want to listen. Because the whole thing is, can I take one more step? Can I take one more step? Can I take one more step? And the environment around. So you as a parent.
I think you did it with in the TED Talk, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's in detail. I'm just giving you the gist of it. So my request will be just go there, implement. It works.
Okay, so okay, now this is one question a lot of people have asked me, and I want to ask this question to you. Do you think a child is intelligent because of his or her genes or environment?
So yeah, I believe so. There's nature and there's nurture. This debate between nurture versus nature, it's been there for millions of years and all stages of time mankind is already there. Mm-hmm. So where we operate from is that nature I can't help. It's not in my hand. So if genes happen, they happen. But nurture is in my hand. Mm-hmm. Nurture is my responsibility. And I believe that nurturing is far more powerful than nature.
Absolutely.
And a few examples could be, you've seen people with disabilities, people do not have limbs, they've climbed the Everest. They're not supposed to, you and I can't. But a person without limbs, without both the legs, has climbed the Everest. People pull the entire train with their teeth.
Absolutely.
That's how they develop the strength. That's developed by nurturing.
Right. True.
So
Yeah.
in short,
Great. I mean, great. I think thanks, Sushant, for all this, all that stuff that we have discussed. And what you shared with me threw so much of light on what I have not been doing that with my child, and it's going to be really helpful. The way I want to deal with my child today in terms of, their tantrums and how to deal with their tantrums and how to deal with my inner self in that aspect and that point of time and how to deal with it. Thank you so much. Now we go to the rapid fire round, okay?
can I take 30 seconds?
Yes, please.
I just want to take one word out of the vocabulary which you've been using.
Okay.
Dealing.
Okay.
Who do you normally deal with? Just take your daughter away, but normally who do we deal with?
So the
Difficult situation,
right.
difficult people.
Yes.
We use that
yes.
word with difficult situation, difficult people. We need to
Right.
change that shift here. Your child is in your team. If your child wins, you win. You will be the happiest if she does well in her life, right?
Absolutely.
So we deal with opponents. We deal with people who are there, difficult people. Take that contextually off. You're not dealing with them. We're nurturing them. We are being with them.
What should be you? What is the word that we should be saying?
So what would you want to use with your daughter? What emotion comes up when you think of your daughter?
Love, affection.
That's it. Connection. I'll give you one more word. Intimacy.
Intimacy, yes.
So create relationship. And in relationship, things happen. You don't deal with that. Dealing just brings that connotation of there's something difficult out there. I have to deal with you. No. Let's love each other. Let's bring intimacy there. And we'll work out what is not working.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Sushant. I mean, today's show was a lot of learning for me, at least. And I'm sure the followers also had, because a lot of people are saying really helpful podcast and people are saying that wish my parents would have seen this. And, I think it's a lot of, I can see a lot of people saying that as followers. So now we go to the rapid fire round, okay? So I'll ask you questions. You have to just answer in like one word or a 2 word, okay? So we start?
Over to you.
Okay. So if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
Anywhere in the world with my family.
Okay, and why? You said you with your family, anywhere in the world. But where
That's
will
the
you go?
reason. Anywhere. Anywhere. Doesn't matter. Being together and exploring the world. Everywhere.
Amazing. Great. What is one of a thing that annoys you of yourself the most?
Wow, man. When I fail and I don't give myself the space, I say it's okay to fail. But when I don't give that space to myself, that annoys me the most.
Oh, okay. Nice. What is your favorite thing about someone in your family?
One thing about one person of my family.
Yeah,
That's a very difficult question. So my connection with my daughter, my communication with my daughter, completely transparent from her and my side, and then since she was 6-7 year old.
Wow, amazing. What is one of your weird quirks?
Weird?
Quirks. Quirk.
No. 24/7 wanting to doing this. Like I can't. So on a Sunday, not doing something in Parvarish or not doing something is the most difficult thing to do. Me to not do stuff is very difficult. My children say you can't sit. You can't take an
Okay.
off.
Okay. If you could trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
No one. I
No
won't
one.
want to change my life.
Like you want to
I'm
trade
not.
life with anyone.
No way. I'm not sharing this.
Okay, so this is another interesting question. You get an opportunity to go to Mars. Okay, Mars.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you do there?
Oh man. Be with myself. Know myself. Peel off those onion peels off myself and try and understand myself.
Mars, no, but you're not going to do that on Earth.
In Earth, there's too much to do.
I like that. Okay, where would you go if you are invisible?
Oh my god. I thought your rapid fire was supposed to be on parenting.
No, it's
Where would I go if I was
it's all about you. This
invisible?
one, rapid fire.
Wander around, like really wander around. Go to every nook and corner of experience it. The heat of the Sahara to the cold of the pole. And because I'm invisible, I don't have to pay for it.
Okay. I mean, half of the I couldn't hear what you said.
I said I would go to every nook, travel the world,
Okay.
and because I'm invisible, I don't need to pay for my
Yeah,
travel.
absolutely. Be Mr. India. Okay. What is your lifelong dream?
Lifelong dream is to take this work, which I'm talking about, to each and every one. Like every child is born with unlimited power. Let them know that, and every parent who this whole experience of parenting has been so beautiful, so amazing. Just want to spread this to each and every person. So lifelong need, vision, mission, everything is. Can I reach out to 7.5 billion people?
Wow, awesome. And I really want that to happen. If you could become the Prime Minister for a day, if you become the Prime Minister for a day, what would you do?
Rewrite and alter the education system of this country.
Yeah.
Give me a day. That is one thing that I really would want to. One
Okay.
day, and the infrastructure is there, everything is there, it needs a tweak. We want to do that.
Yes. Lovely. Quality of life or quantity of life? I'm sure you will say quality, I'm sure, but still asking.
Absolutely. I don't know what the quantity is. I may not survive tomorrow. I don't know. But it's now and here, and can I live it up?
Great. Okay, what is better? Being organized or attention to detail?
Being organized and attention to the details. Actually,
No,
you
being
know,
organized
do you
or
know my
attention
weaknesses
to
before
detail?
answering that? So these are two of my biggest weaknesses. Completely disorganized and no attention to detail. So I believe in just going with the flow, go play your game, things will happen. So I don't know. I don't have a choice between the two of them. Both of them are alien to me.
Okay, but that doesn't really come out on what you were talking about.
So Manvi, my founder team member, she brings in both these, and thanks to her. Otherwise, I love to live in chaos. I love to play the game the way it comes.
Wow.
Go fade, go jump it out.
But I'm sure while playing the game, you get into attention to detail, isn't it? Just asking. Not at
Too
all.
far away. I can be finding the keys lying right in front of me on the table.
Amazing. Okay, one more question on parenting which just came in my mind while having this conversation with you. Tell me one thing. How do you teach a 4-year-old to read?
Sorry, can you come again? I couldn't hear you.
How
For
do
you,
you teach a 4-year-old to read?
simple. Read. The environment needs to be of reading. Have books around, read yourself, and have books of her age, her liking around her. It's very simple. It's not difficult. If you have the gadgets around, they'll pick up the gadgets. You have the toys around, they'll pick up toys. You give them sugar to eat, they will like sugar. You give them salt to eat, they'll like salt. Create that environment where all of that is available there for them to play with, them to do it on their own time and enjoy it. It's very simple. One big room
Wow.
or maybe a small room where you sit, which is full of books, where you as a parent have a great time.
Right. Amazing.
They'll pick it
So,
up.
by the way, thank you everybody. Thank you, Sushant, for this lovely, amazing, informative session that I had with you. And by the way, followers are asking questions. So, the first question Disha asked is how to bridge the gap between generations. So, I think she's asking from the parent point of view, and maybe she is 20s, 25 or something. She's asking that question.
So great. So you're looking at bridging the gap between you and your parents, right? So it works the same way. So first, let me tell you, generation gap is a myth. There is nothing called generation gap. It's communication. Every generation is different. What I went through in my generation is going to be very different from what my son goes through or my daughter goes through or what my dad has gone through. The idea would be, can I share about my stuff and can I accept your stuff? There's nothing wrong here, there's nothing wrong here. Can I communicate about myself and give you space to communicate about yourself without making you wrong and giving you the understanding? Period. Listening and saying, okay, fine, this is what you're going through. This is what I went through, and both are perfect. I'll give you an example. When I started this off, Aman was just about 6-year-old, and people said, okay, fine, he's a young kid, your styles are, your ways are working. When he reaches 18, 20, 15, when he's a teenager, then you will see how difficult it is. Things came up, definitely. But if you really ask me, even at 21, can I cry on his shoulder? Have I done that in the last 1 year? Has he cried on my shoulder? Has he done in the last 1 year? The answer is yes. So when he meets his girlfriend, I'm the first person to know. So my daughter had a first crush at 11 and said, Dad, I have a crush on this guy, and I met him, and that's it. It's fine, go ahead, it's your life. So
So
there
I
is
have
no
a
generation
question.
gap.
I would like to say something in what you're saying right now. So the way you are dealing with it, all parents of a different generation will not deal with that way, right? So I think so how do you deal in that situation? Because you somehow have trained yourself and you are in a different space altogether with your children. So that's not how parents are with their children. I mean, my parents and the way they will deal with me or a parent who has not been exposed to this kind of an exposure they didn't have. So those parents will not be able to deal the way you are saying you will deal with your child.
Hey, Kari, it's not difficult. The first thing to myself was, what kind of relationship do I want from with my child?
Okay.
And that question is not, that answer is not just mine, okay? If I ask this question to anybody across the world, any parent, any child, what kind of relationship do you want with your child or your father or your mother? This is what we want. There's no other answer. You want to be close, intimate right there because you get a lot of power from this relationship. It's the most
Right.
powerful, energy giving relationship. So that's the answer for everybody. The point is, can I step back and start becoming conscious about it? Can I put that into action? It's going to be difficult,
Right.
but it's super. Again, if I ask you, Gargi, this question, like, everybody who's listening to this, maybe dealing with something difficult in your life, right? You're dealing with something
Absolutely.
difficult. Just bring that moment, like that thing. Okay, I'm having difficulty in this area of my life. This is tough. Just imagine for 10 seconds that is, just bring that area into your mind. And imagine right now, your father or your mother walking into the room right now, and they put a hand on your shoulder, and they say, Gali, you can do it, and I am with you. Just experience your dad or your mom doing it to you right now. How does that
Yeah.
feel?
Oh, it feels amazing that you have the full support.
You have the power in the world to fight the world. Yeah, you can do it.
Yes.
Now, every parent, every child wants that. Can we go and communicate that? It's not going to be easy, but if you put that up there, that this is what I want, and I put my action and put it bit by bit by bit, you can't reach the Everest in a day. You've got to build it up. Build it up slowly, not a problem. If it fails, go back again. Go back again. Go back again. It will happen because both of you need. You know, one conversation I remember with my father. And once I went to him and I said, Dad, मुझे आपसे डर लगता है. You know what he turned around and said? मुझे तुझसे डर लगता है. And I realized there are two fearful people fearing each other, wanting to become close. I said, I just gave him a hug here. I said, can we just drop that and not get afraid of each other? Will that fear come? Yes, but can we get present and let it be aside and give him a hug?
Wow.
वो भी डरे पड़े हैं, तुम भी डरे पड़े हो, मिल लो यार, किससे डर रहे हो?
Amazing. So beautiful. Wow. Amazing. Another person asked, well, should we tell our siblings the importance of education or let them find it themselves?
So first of all, I would want to ask this question, what is education? Let's define what is education. Is getting a degree, getting great marks, spending time in your studies and acquiring that so-called knowledge and vomiting it out on your examination sheet, is that education? What is education all about? Do we understand what education is all about? What does it mean to be educated? India needed to be literate when we got our freedom. There was illiteracy.
Right.
Literacy is not education, but somewhere we are still defining our education as literacy. We have moved ahead. The world has moved ahead. Literacy is basic, it's required, sure, but do not collapse it with education.
Right.
What is education? And let's talk to everybody, not just sibling, your father, your mother, your teacher, your children. Let's talk about education. What does education really mean? What does being educated mean? Can I make a difference to this world? Can I make a difference? What does that thing mean? What is it required for my life?
About new things. That is it. Somebody is saying learning about new things on our page, on our conversation.
Okay, get that. That, I'm sure that is a definition of education, but a very minimalistic definition of education. You will keep learning all your life. You will keep doing something new, you will keep learning, and that's what keeps human beings going. But education is about knowing yourself. Education is about knowing somebody else. Education is about communication skills. Education is about collaborative skills. Education is about tenacity. Education is about mental, emotional health. Education is about being thinking. You're thinking, creative thinking. Education is about problem solving. Can we put the real meaning of education out there and create that meaning of education for people around us? So you say, should you talk to your sibling about education? Sure, but let's get what is education all about. Have we collapsed it with go to school, learn your maths, get the great marks? So first that, and then definitely communicating and definitely having a conversation, having discussions around it. Sure. It's far deeper. And the only way you get deeper is through those communication and conversations.
Wow. Okay, somebody asks, Somebody says parenting in India is still an ignorant topic. Why?
I won't say it's ignorant topic in India. I would say it's across the world. We work with parents in US and we work with parents in Japan and China. Uh, the reason being, we think parenting comes naturally. It doesn't. Parenting is very complex. And by saying that, I don't want to fear, I don't want to create fear for people, but parenting is a very complex thing. You're nurturing a life, and that life is not a plant life. That life is a human life with thinking, feeling. Let's say unlimited potential bundled into that one small life. And by the way, just imagine what you do as a parent, as a mother, as a father, what inputs are grandparents putting in, what inputs are relatives putting in, what peers are giving them inputs, the media, the social media, the movies, the songs, the series, the serials, the teachers, the school. A human being, a child, is getting inputs from millions of places.
Right.
Plus, I and you, every child has a very different way of assimilating it, thinking about it, have a different feeling about it, have a different thought about it. So if you combine all that, these are millions of permutations. What only you do with your child is very minimal. So we need to understand what parenting is all about. Parenting is not becoming a parent. Parenting is called nurturing. And that is complex. Over the last 30 years, a lot of research has happened in this area which wasn't available 30 years back. Similarly, medical research wasn't there. People were dying because of whatever. Even in 6 months, in 9 months, we could build a vaccine for COVID, right? Wasn't possible.
Right. Absolutely.
Vaccines used to take decades to make. That is what research has done. It's given more power to human beings. So over the last 30 years, a lot of research has happened in the field of parenting. It's a very complex one and easy to understand. And why I say it's easy to understand is if I, who's not coming from a background of I'm an engineer, did my master's in finance, worked in corporates for 20 years. Parenting was nowhere in the domain. I'm not a child psychologist. I'm not a counselor. By my education, if I can learn it, anybody in this world can learn it. So one thing which I wanted to share, Gabby, was, I don't know, you've seen that book right at the back. One line which I've often heard parents say, that parenting, when children are born, they're born without a manual. So I can tell you, here is the manual.
Oh, wow. It says perfect parenting. Okay.
Here's the manual, very easily available now on Amazon. And I can promise you, this will work. That's my promise to you. If it doesn't, I'm there to contact you. Pick up the phone or Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Contact us and we'll tell you. This works. So manual is there. It's there. It's complex and it's made it very simple. It's just 150 pages of simple conversation stuff.
See, I have one big question again. So today's children are exposed to the screen, right? So the screen time has gone, it's gone exponentially. Okay. Now, how do you deal with that situation? You don't want to give them the screen. At the same time, you just can't take it away also, because it's something which is there in the environment. And I think they also learn a lot from this also. So how do you balance that bit?
So first thing we need to get out is screens per se. You and I are able to connect from Mumbai to Delhi to the world, sitting in our the comfort of our houses, right? There's no issue at all. It's brought in a lot of positive stuff. We bank, we order stuff, we're connected to people. It gives us security, medicines, everything on a click of a button. It's great. Human beings wouldn't have survived this COVID thing last 1 year if we hadn't, if it wasn't one of the things. Possible, yeah. Business happened, everything happened, schooling happened. Just because of screen, we would have gone mad sitting 4 of us together in 4 walls. We would have gone mad, right?
Yes.
So one thing is great. The other thing we need to see is that if technology is using you, it's a bane. And when you use technology, it's a boon. We need to distinguish this whole thing. And we don't realize how technology has started using us versus we using technology. If you get up in the morning and look at your phone first before saying good morning to your spouse sleeping right next to you, mind you, technology is using you.
Yeah, true.
If you're going out for a dinner and you're sitting with people around and enjoying your time and a notification comes and you look at that notification, just check, are you using technology or technology using you? So we need to use technology versus getting used by technology. It's a great tool, a lethal tool. We all need to have it. We all need to use it. And it's what will take our children, ourselves to the next level. So first thing that. Second, as I said, which I was talking about, how you asked me a question on how do you get children to read books. It's about exposure. Can you enjoy that time? Can we switch it off and be with each other? If we love to read, read with each other, play with each other, move out with each other, talk to each other without having that instrument in your hand.
Correct.
When you're talking to your child and you're having a conversation and he or she is talking about anything, it could be fun, it could be a joke, it could be just sharing about stuff, and a notification comes to you. Are you still with your child or has that notification taken? If the notification has taken you over, trust me,
The technology
screens will take you over and your child. Because we feel that, oh, this call is very important. I need to take it right now. But do you know that notification for your child from a friend is as important as your business call to him at that age? You make your call very important. You say, "Ye kya kar raha hai? Isko band kar." Sorry, sweetheart. Both are as important to each other. If you can't drop this, they can't drop this.
True. Yeah, because a lot of times it happens, and I've heard from a lot of parents, okay, including me actually, that they say the child is saying, "You don't listen to me. You don't listen to me. You're busy on something. You don't listen to me." This is something which I've heard from a lot of parents who are talking about the children have complained about them. So there's a conversation happening between a child and the parent. So the child says, "You don't listen to me," or "You're not listening to me." So that means the child gets it that the parent is not with them. So
Listening
yes, I
is
get
not
what you're
happening
saying.
by just your ears. Listening is you getting there, your eye contact, you're being there completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Yes.
And by the way,
Thank you,
if I
Sushant.
ask you who's the most important person in your life,
Yeah.
if I ask you who's the most important person in your life, who would that be?
If you ask,
If I
sorry,
ask
I
you
missed it.
who's the most important person of your life?
At this point of my daughter, if you're asking me,
I'm asking you only.
yeah, my
So
daughter.
if she's the most important person of your life, she's the one. How can that phone call be more important?
True. True.
Tough.
Agree.
We all make mistakes. Do I still do what I'm saying? The answer is yes. You will go back, apologize. So I said, great. If you fail, tell yourself it's okay to fail and take the next step.
Yeah, I know. Amazing. I think today's session was one of the best sessions I have, I have conducted, and especially being there is so much of learning that had happened in this session. And thank you, Sushant, so much for being in my show. And I would really like you to end the show by saying that you say something for what the followers should take back for themselves in terms of how to deal with their lives as well as parenting.
Okay. So, uh, what I'll say is that each one of you, each one of us, and children are born with unlimited power. And when I say unlimited power, it's actually true. So, but what takes over is comparisons. I am able to do something, this other person is not able to do anything else. That it brings in a rift and it brings in that I lack something. So from a space of that I can do anything, I start moving to I can't do that, I can't do that, he can't do that, he can't do that, he's better than that, he's better than that. You are unlimited, so am I, so is the other person, so is the other person. So it's 7.5 billion people in the world born with unlimited power and yet unique. Your thought, your style, my style, your feeling, my feeling will never match. To see as a parent, can you acknowledge yourself and your child as an individual human being with unlimited power without comparing somebody with somebody else to feel that okay, I have it or I don't have it? Can we take away a bit of comparison from our life? Your one son, your other daughter, your siblings are both individuals. They're both born with unlimited potential, and yet they're unique. See if you can wean off some bit of comparison and give yourself the space to make mistakes and tell yourself that you're great and your child that. So I think that could be one thing which is difficult. Can we start our journey today?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's somebody saying that it was a wonderful conversation. Thank you, such detailed information. So, I think Sushant, this has really been a very interesting session for my followers. Also, there's a lot that we are all taking back, and we can just implement that in our lives with our
Yeah.
parents as well as our children. So there are two different generations, and deal with both the generations in a certain way. And thank you so much. Thank you all the followers, and thank you Sushant for the show. And you know, thank you so much. Bye. Have a great time. And by the way, everybody, please, it's the COVID is still on, by the way. And please maintain social distancing. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. And all that is very important in our lives that we need to follow now, isn't it? So, yes, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye bye. See you next week. See ya. Bye bye. Bye.
Thanks, Ragi. All the best and happy
Thanks.
parents.
Thank you.